Recording is on.
Okay, so welcome to the interesting session 5 number. So far we had done with the structured systems. I had talked about resilience. I talked about reputation management system. I had talked about uh, almost everything which was required in the structured system. So it was basically for DFS application, and before that for voice over IP. Okay, so in this case, so one of the requests I think is each one of you can turn off your mic. So only my microphone, let it be on. So whenever you have a question, you can write in the Telegram chat. Okay, and or otherwise I will go one by one in between, and then you can ask me the question. Or when you write in the Telegram chat, I can actually ask you to turn on your microphone, and then you can interact. Okay. So with multiple tools, this is not possible to monitor everybody. So it has to be only through Telegram. So now we are actually looking into something called unstructured network. So idea behind the unstructured network is that these key value pairs need not be stored in DHT. So they can be just put in arbitrarily. So earlier I used to think that maybe we can even have interconnection also arbitrarily. You just know somebody, you just get connected to him. He knows somebody, he will just get connected to them. So this is the way it is actually going to happen. But the problem in that case, sometimes it is possible that your network may get partitioned. So to avoid network partitioning, so everybody is reachable to everybody else, one of the ways is to go with what we call using logarithmic partitioning. Still use same kind of node ID and same kind of routing table creation, but the storage or the query routing is not done the way it is done in the DHT based storage. So there is no key value pairs in the DHT dash table. So one of the possible application is actually a distributed search engine. So now in our case, for unstructured system, nodes will still have the node IDs. Routing table will still be maintained as done in the structured network. And logarithmic partitioning will ensure that all nodes are always connected. So this actually will be guaranteed. Now, only difference which remains is how the query is going to be routed. Okay. So query normally will have a keyword, and you have to find out the corresponding value for that. So in a DST based system, you are actually looking for the hash of the keyword and finding out the closest node in the routing table and forwarding it. This keeps on happening till it reaches to a node when the node itself is the only closest node. So which means it is a root node. And then it will actually search in the local database for the keyword and value pair. And this keyword value pair is what is being returned back to the person. Just hold on. So this is something like I will solve it. There must be some problem. So now are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I am able to see, sir.
Okay. So I think there must be something which must have happened in the sharing. Okay. So I have shared in all four the complete screen so that you can see whatever is happening here. So now the difference is how the query will be routed in this kind of a unstructured system. So there are only two methods. One is a random walk. Other one is going to be a do you do the broadcast of the query. Okay. So this actually means that when you have a large amount of for a simple for a query, you are expecting that too many people who will be actually holding up the answer. So then in that case, going with a random walk probably makes a sense. You don't require a broadcast because you don't have to search through too many people. Even after a few hops, you will be able to get the answer. Okay. But if the answer is rare, then the chances that you will find out is going to be much lower actually in this case. You can actually use alternatively a broadcast, but here it will lead to a sudden large traffic being generated because every node will receive the broadcast query and then will replicate it to everybody else. Okay. So common queries whose response is expected to be cached by many nodes, you use random walk, otherwise go for a broadcast. So that should be the thumb rule, which one has to use. How you are going to do the broadcast routing? Some of you may not have done EE673. So there actually it is done in OSPF when OSPF is taught. So the logic here is very simple. See, it should not never happen a packet, same packet is being forwarded multiple times by the same node, only that has to be avoided. So whenever a broadcast query is done, we also add two more fields, a source node ID, the guy who is originating the query, and we also add a sequence number. So it's a number which is being used by every source node. It's a different sequence number maintained by every source node. So whenever it is originating a query, it will just simply increment that sequence number and put it in that query packet. Okay. So this packet essentially will now be forwarded to all the nodes by the source. Okay. So each node will receive a query from somebody, either maybe a source or maybe somebody else. It will now also will look into the sequence number. It is going to maintain a small table. Table will have actually all the three fields, number and timer. So it will now check whether the already sequence number which is stored in the table, the packet which I am receiving, its sequence number is higher or not. If it is higher, perfect. So this must be a new packet. So it will just forward to all other links except for the incoming link. And the sequence number in the table will be updated. Timer will be reset. And except from the incoming link or for all other neighbors, it will be sent, the packet will be sent. And since I'm still using logarithmic routing, okay, this spread will be covered. Okay. So now what happens if the packet is having a sequence number lesser than what is already lesser than or equal to whatever is being already recorded in the table? Now the meaning is that this packet was already received earlier. So you have to simply drop the packet. And of course, if you don't, if there is no sequence number is not updated in your this broadcast routing table, then and timer expires. So whenever sequence number is updated, then only timer is reset. Then at that point of time, the sequence number will be purged. Okay. So now with whatever any arbitrary sequence number from the same source, if a packet comes, it will be forwarded again. Okay. So this basically I have just used the same broadcast routing methodology which is used in OSPF. Okay. Now there is one more thing which I have figured out can be done. This is I have not seen this thing happening. But if you are doing unstructured query, this will be required. In OSPF, this is not required. Okay. So in OSPF, normally everybody in the network should be informed. Here, when you are doing a search of certain keyword, you want to find out documents for that and want to get the documents matching the search. You don't have to search for the whole internet. Okay. You probably say, okay, let me find out till 20 hops. Whoever is there, he will give me the answer. So you also have a field TTL, time to live. This basically can be count of hops actually. And every time when you forward, TTL has to be reduced. When TTL is 0, the packet is going to be dropped. Now here I think there is a modification which we can do is whenever a query is being dropped by a node because TTL is 0, it knows the query has originated from which particular source. So it will go and inform that particular source that I am the guy who actually up till whom the query came with this particular sequence number, and I have dropped this thing because TTL has become 0. So I call these kind of nodes as the edge nodes for this particular query. And these actually can be used by source for if you want to do, if he is not satisfied with all the responses in the first attempt in the given TTL, then this edge nodes actually can be used for furthering the query search again. So for second round of this expanded search, source will not do the broadcast to its neighbors. It will just make a request to all these edge noded that you actually do a broadcast with this particular TTL. Now TTL count will be happening from the edge nodes, not from the source node. So it will further now move outward, radially outward if the source is at the center. And more queries, more actually answers will be coming back. So second round, you will have now the edge nodes which are uh, twice of the TTL, those many hops away, those actually edge nodes will be informed to the source. So this can happen recursively as many number of times as it is required by the source. So I will be able to curtail the traffic. I can actually limit it every time, and every time I will do a different band. I can search radially outward actually. So this is a more efficient strategy. I have not seen this thing in the literature, but this certainly can be is implementable. Okay. So responses, anybody who is actually, when the query comes, it has to now look into his local information base where all the files which it wants to be known to public are available. There is also going to be a kind of a indexing mechanism. So I will talk about that. So it will send the responses. These responses can be sent either directly or can be sent through a DHT mechanism. Either way it can be done. Okay. And some of the so even after first round, whoever is responding will be responding directly or through DHT. After second round, which is now the nodes which are farther away, they will also be doing the same thing. There is no TTL when the responses are there. It's done through a DHT routing actually, or through a direct routing. Both ways it can be done. You can't use direct routing if somebody is behind a net or firewall and is coming through tunneling or coming through proxying. Okay. So each node is supposed to keep all the public files which are going to be searchable, the way we do it on websites, in their local storage. It has to also implement a small crawler, which will search, it will actually have a list of keywords, and it will search for every keyword in all these documents and will create an inverted index. So here actually keyword is in which particular document at which particular position. Okay, so this is what is an index which need to be created and maintained. Now, any new keyword which comes in for which a crawler has not searched, if it comes in, it may not respond immediately, but may start create a search thread, which will start creating index entries for all locally stored files. Okay, so this kind of I am trying to build up the application which is pretty much stable. So any new file, whenever is added, crawler will now find references for all the keywords in this new file and update the index. Any new keyword in all the existing files, the search has to be done and index has to be updated. And for each keyword, you are also going to have a timer. And this timer will be, of course, will be very, very large value, maybe 1 month or 6 month kind of thing. Whenever a keyword query comes, the timer has to be reset. If a timer expires, maybe for 6 months, nobody is searching for a query. For a keyword, I think there is no use. Whenever it will come, you can again actually run a crawler and then recreate it. So you are kind of now minimizing on the storage space and the compute load on that in maintaining the index. Actually, then these keywords can be removed. This kind of it becomes a stable system. It's not growing all the time. It will essentially adjust based on the load requirements. Okay. So now the nodes which have resources, they can respond back by sending DHT as I mentioned, or they can send it through direct IP routing. And also it's a good idea if they can send a copy to the node from which the query was received. So that node can maintain a small cache and can maintain this query and response in that cache actually. So next time if a query comes from the direction, it will serve from there itself. And every cache entry will also have a timer which will can expire, then it can be purged from the cache. Okay. So for received query messages, okay, first of all, you will send all the cached entries if you have something in that, and then you will also forward the query. And if you actually end up in getting a lot of other responses, you won't resend the whatever you have sent from the cache. So cache thing, if you are updating the cache, then you will send it. Otherwise, whichever is not in the cache, only those will be sent. This is kind of filtering. And the new one also will again be put into the cache memory. So the cache management has to be there. This will essentially kind of reduce the load on the network. Okay. So now another thing which happens because of this caching phenomena, the entries which are very frequently searched, they will be spread in the network. It will improve the performance. We call it smearing of the data. So you are essentially now fudging it and then spreading it around the node which is actually holding the query, holding the resource. Okay, this we can use in DHT based thing for very fast search if it is required.